Oh, hello, hello. Close that. Hang on, I gotta fix this camera. It is just awful. We're gonna turn that off. Oh, that is a little better. All right. We also will turn that off. And we'll go here. Hello, hello, everybody. Are you there? Am I here? That's what I need to know. Can everybody hear me? Whoops. Let's see. As you might imagine, I am a little discombobulated again. Hang on. On the chat rule, be kind to one another and be over the age of 17. Those are my 2 chat rules. Because after all, kids don't want to watch me anyway. Hello, everybody, and happy Sunday. Let's see here. Hang on. I'm working on getting my chat popped out. Oh, how about that? Popping. Okay, chat popped out. And now I'm going to make this a regular size. Move it over, move chat over here so I can see. And hello, Shara. Hello, Crystal. Hello, Libby. Hello, RB. I want to call you Rita. Is that right? Kim, hi. How are you? Melinda, thank you so much for being here. Susan, thank you for being here. I know today's topic is of interest to your daughter in particular. And okay, good. Thank you, RB. I thought you were Rita. And hopefully I can call you Rita. Is that okay? Because I know you went RB, so I didn't know. Maybe you didn't want people to know your name was Rita. And Shara, as long as somebody else is driving it. And that's okay. If you can't hear there'll always be playback, hopefully. And I will try to be clear and not mumble. Mrs. Coffee, hello, hello, hello. I watched you all night practically. You kept me company. And just so you know, you didn't know I was there, but I was there as I was watching some of your playbacks. And diamond painting. And hello, Deb. And how is everybody this Sunday? As you might have guessed, I might have been a little occupied the last couple days, especially in light of my last video. So I've been learning all kinds of good things and talking to a whole lot of people and trying to draw and do all of that kind of good stuff. And so hopefully I have more info. I did this. First off, does anybody notice anything new on my channel? I do have the hope that things will be all right for all of us. I get monetized over the weekend. I was shocked. It took me 24 hours. I had already set up, done some previous setup of this in anticipation of, I already had a Google Ads account and a bunch of other things for my website. Whoops. But now that's interesting because, whoops, little live chat. Okay. So anyway, so I got everything all set up and got monetized. I got approved in less than 24 hours. Now, I had been talking to people who it took a month for them to get approved. So I think that that is a fairly good sign that things are, that things for craft channels and adult hobby channels might be okay. I could be reading a whole lot more into that than I think I am. But they did. I can tell you that they did send bots through my channel, and they did not find anything that was automatically flagged. But I did figure out why channels like Faithful Mess got flagged. And Shara, are you at she's got a bad connection, everybody. She can't stay connected. That's it. She's in the car. She's on her way to a family Thanksgiving. Now, I am going to break a cardinal rule of my own, and I'm actually going to, off to the side here, I'm going to light a cigarette and smoke just a little bit of it, just because I have been, I've just been kind of up against it. So, needless to say, I've got my left brain working really hard on, trying to figure out this whole COPPA thing and how it's going to affect all of us, if it's going to affect all of us. Listening to a lot of information on it, working very hard not to panic. Hello, Shalene. And making sure that, that I feel comfortable going forward, especially in light of what just happened. Getting a channel monetized is a big deal with YouTube. And I'm super, super pleased about it, obviously, but I'm not, I want to avoid the whole putting all your eggs in one basket, scenario. And of course, this has my anxiety levels, along with all of yours, up into the sort of stratosphere. But I do feel better, excuse me, being armed with information. And so I'm going to talk about that information in color. Go away, smoke. Okay. And hopefully we'll go from there and say hi to everybody. Hi, everybody. I got little notes here. All right, so I could wait until other people come, but I think it's important for all of us, and I can always repeat myself and things like that. Susan Wilkes, I did put a little for Sammy in her Instagram, just bringing her attention to a document that I had hoped would help illuminate her and also alleviate any stress she might be going through right now. So I just wanted to say that. And okay, why did Faith of all people get flagged? That's a really good place to stop or start. And here's why. Right in her channel description, she says that she's for kids. Right in her channel description. I went and read it last night. And it says, that it's, her favorite kids coloring, but, it's reading her channel description. It basically says that it's for kids. She's, her favorite kids coloring book is, and she talks about kids and all of that kind of stuff. And so that is why she got flagged. And so that is, that goes right to what Lori at Color My World was talking about. And that is, we need to make sure that we comb through our entire channel and make sure that it says that we are doing an adult hobby intended for adults to watch. And that, because, okay, let's get some pencils in our hand. So we're doing something and I can talk and let the information flow. But yes, that is why she got flagged. It's right, and it's still there. It's right there in her description. And so it's those exact kind of things. And here's the illuminating thing. And in the description of today's video, there are 3 very important things. The first one that I put in is a link to late Friday, because the government does everything late on Friday. FTC issued a statement about the thousands, and there are over, I think there were 11,000 comments the last time when I posted mine. Or actually, no, there were 9,200, 92 or 9,300 when I posted mine. But they issued a statement which sort of theoretically was intended to make everybody feel better. It did to a certain extent, some of us, but the nonetheless, it still left the language sufficiently vague in the ruling, or in the rule. See, I feel like I need to go back and start at the beginning. COPPA is law. It is law. It is a rule. It went into effect in 1998, and it gets reviewed every 10 years. So it was last reviewed in 2013. And it was at that point that the inclusion of tracking cookies was put into the rule that said that if you're if you have a website, you cannot track anybody under the age of 13. And that's good. Everybody started putting in all of these, age gateways where you have to say you're over the age of 13. Google did it. That's all right. But then they started to put pencils in your hand, Christine. Put pencils actually in your hand. So then they started, channels started posting to YouTube, and some of them were clearly directed at kids. And the reason why I think everybody should read that FTC document is buried in one of the sections there that discusses COPPA. It says, for example, the channels on pages 10 to 14 of the complaint. And it gives an actual link to channels 10 or pages 10 to 14 of the actual complaint that the FTC had, the basis on which they sued Google. And when you read it and you see what was happening, like companies like Mattel and Hasbro made channels. And those channels were then promoted heavily on YouTube Kids. I'm just trying to remember what it is that I'm using here. All right. For this one, it is. For this one, it is orange. Yes. Pale vermilion. Yes. 90% French gray. Yes. Permanent red. Yes. Yellowed orange. Yes. Okay. So I have all the right ones. All right. So these channels were not only were they signed up to you, or posting content to YouTube, but they were being heavily advertised on YouTube Kids. Now, YouTube Kids is a mobile app. It is not available to those of us who use desktops to access YouTube. It is a mobile app. It is specifically designed for kids. But you can also get into it on regular YouTube just by looking up the channel. So here is all of this content that is being posted, obviously for kids, because Hasbro, Mattel, and there were a bunch of other channels that were named. I don't remember all of them, but those were two of the big ones. There wasn't any distinction being made of the people who were visiting. And so the YouTube was gathering information on all of them. There was no way you could say that it wasn't directed at kids, because it says right in their channel descriptions that they make toys. They're soliciting kids. They're specifically directing their content at kids, and yet nothing was being done to prevent the gathering of information from everybody who visited that site, except kids that were using the YouTube Kids app. So that is, there's no doubt. There is no doubt that there was a violation of COPPA on the part of Google and YouTube on doing that. Now, where they get us, and there is a whole lot of opinion about whether or not they ever could get us, but monetized channels especially get ad revenue based upon ads played. We all know that there's more money in personalized ads than there is in contextual ads. So we make money, and and so supposedly that's why they consider us individual makers or individual website holders. Yes, I am going to put a pencil down on this, I promise. Okay, there we go. You can't see anything from that far away, can you? So that is sort of, okay. So it really made me feel better to look at those pages to see exactly what these channels were supposedly doing. Now, I don't know if the FTC is going after these channels or not, because I do know that they purchased big blocks of advertising time from YouTube. I imagine they probably might at some point in time, or that, some sort of off the books settlements and or accommodations have already been made. I don't know, but at any rate. So the FTC sort of went in this Friday statement that they issued. They kind of sort of acknowledged that they understand that there are things that are suitable for kids, but are not directed at kids, i.e., adult activities. Where we have the questions, and I think why everybody is so up in arms about this, is the vague language about appealing to, or and in the Friday statement, the one that says traditional childhood activities, or traditional children's associated activities, and that kind of thing. So that is, interesting. Then you add to that, and I don't know how many people ever saw it. There are tons of links to it, though. This ridiculous press conference, and I call it ridiculous, but it's not I mean, it's certainly not really ridiculous. This press conference that this Andrew Smith, who is the Bureau of or the Bureau Director of FTC Enforcement. And he said, oh, yeah, we're going after the channel owners. It'll be like shooting fish in a barrel. Isn't that like akin to shouting fire in a theater, in a crowded theater? And, and of course, we all went nuts. A few of us saw that and we all kind of, like lost it. So, and it's really not funny, but I read in its entirety the lawsuit, or the complaint, because ultimately it was settled, so there's no adjudicated law on it. I read the complaint. I read the modifications to the complaint. It was a horrible, idiotic thing to say. I agree. And I read, well, I outline it in my statement. All right, so my comment to the FTC is also in the description. It's long. It is sort of specific to the arts and crafts industry, but hopefully it explains why it is so important, from that the FTC adjust the language to at least include its awareness that there are like-kind hobbies that exist, i.e. adult crafting, even if the adult crafting is, and I think the example that I use is putting tiny fairies with glitter on a handmade box, because that was the first thing that came off the top of my head. So hopefully, and I don't know, anybody who wants to read that and then comment, how did I do? It was pretty late, and I worked on that puppy for like, I don't know, 4 hours of editing it, trying to make it perfect, and I finally just got to the point where I just hit send. But I love, and then I had to take a survey, I was selected to take a survey of whether or not the site was easy to use. That had popped up just as I signed into it, so I know it had nothing to do with the length of time that it took me to write that. But I wanted to make sure that I was A, polite, and B, didn't sound like I was like I was taking them on. So let's talk about, let's kind of, okay, we'll go back to, all right, so I had talked sort of briefly at the end of the video that I posted on Friday or Thursday or whatever heck day it was, Saturday morning. So I don't know, it's one of my top performing videos of all time. And does anybody, I do have to ask, I don't see it. Does anybody see the little super chat thing at the bottom? I don't want anybody to use it. I just want to know if it's there. So anyway, so I alluded at the end of that video that I had just read a bunch of documents. Well, that was what I'd read. I had read pages 10 through 14 of the complaint and saw the kinds of things that were used as evidence in the case. When the FTC brought the suit, they had to state what their evidence was, and it was pretty damning. All the way from the channel descriptions to the metadata. And for those of you who might not know, metadata are titles, tags, which, hashtags, and when we enter and upload a video, we have the opportunity to put in tags. And what tags are what search engines read when they're searching for your video. Or, let's say you go and you say, find me how to color a flower. So you type in how to color a flower and it pops up with all of these videos on how to color a flower. And the reason it pops those up is because those are the tags that whoever created the video, how to color a flower, put in their tag list. And it's all on the back end. So if your channel, if you put in your description or your tags, things like coloring Disney or or coloring cute little fairies or something like that, that's child attractive, and your stuff is likely gonna come up in search. So that's why directed at kids will no longer be searchable. Oh, so nobody can search for your channel. Oh, Cheryl, what a sweetheart you are. Hey, and it works. Thank you. And so everybody knows I get to keep 70% of that. So that's very cool. Thank you, Shara. And YouTube apparently gets the other, not YouTube, but AdSense or Google or whoever it is gets the other 30%. So thank you. Hi, Adult Coloring for UFOs. I saw you in Mrs. Coffee's stream last night, even though it wasn't live. I was watching a playback. Hello, hello, and welcome here. A special shout out to April, who I know is watching or said she'd be watching or at least listening. Hi, and thank you so much for your contact. You guys, you do not need to do that. I am just so freaking thrilled that, that there's going to be ad revenue coming in. And even if it's $20 a month, it'll help. It really will. Hi, Louise, and saying hi and thinking of everyone. Okay, and you're out. Okay, well, be safe. If you're driving, be safe. And hey, happy Thanksgiving weekend to everybody, or week to everybody. Melody, no worries. No worries at all, honey. And welcome, Melody. I didn't mean to not say hi to you. And that is so nice. Okay, so I don't want to talk about me. I want to talk. Oh man, you don't even want to know. You don't even want to know. Let's just say that I need to sell some books. All right, I was talking about metadata. So it is so important that we monitor our metadata and make sure that we are not putting in terms that would lead the FTC to believe that we are directing our channel to children. So the problem, of course, is if you on the back end of your channel, if you're saying that your channel description is that your channel is fun and we play games and we do giveaways and we do all of this kind of stuff, and that's all great, but that's also attractive to children. Does that mean that you can't do giveaways? No. Does it? But you don't want it. You don't want it creeping into your metadata, because that's also how these guys who just, search around for places to go where they can win stuff, that's how they find you as well. So that's something to keep in mind. Once again, I'm coloring and just not even bothering to talk about it. I am making progress on my diamond painting, though, thanks to Mrs. Coffee. And thank you. It was 1,010 when I looked this morning. I was just so pleased. And once again, the reason why I have sort of hope for our channels is, why would YouTube monetize me just to, sweep me out of business? Especially in less than 24 hours. Once again, like I said, I had set everything sort of up in advance, as far as I had applied for an AdSense account for when, the day came, if I ever hit 1,000. I had just, I just followed all the stuff that YouTube gave me until it stopped me and said, you don't have enough subs or hours yet. And then I would stop. So all of that apparently stood me in pretty good stead. I don't have any copyright strikes, or obviously I wouldn't, but I did have one video because I used a piece of music, and instead of crediting it in the description, I made a tag for it that credited it actually in the video itself. I made a title at the end that ran as a part of the video. So that's why I didn't get a copyright strike, even though so any money that one earns goes to that musical artist, which I'm perfectly fine with. I use their music. I did credit them properly, but they do get it's actually it's eligible for shared revenue, but it's a Susan Curry coloring book, and I might end up having to delete it, because that one is it's actually, her coloring books could actually be for kids. So, and thank you, Gary, and thank you to all the people who are coming in and all of that. Okay, so so yeah, I wanted to talk about I did talk about the flags on Faithful Mass and why I think she got flagged. Now, and that goes right back to what complaint that the FTC had with YouTube was. And that sort of gave me the idea. And then I listened to that, even though he did say some awful things, this Andrew Smith, on that September 4th press conference. He also said some very helpful things, especially about things that they were looking at. So that led me to know. And then listening to Lori at Color My World. This is she knows what she's talking about when she says, it's the metadata. You've got to be sure to fix it. And also, you might, want to think about the things that you color. I may not be drawing very many more, spikas. I may have to mark that particular video as being made for children, even though it isn't. I don't know. I do know that I am glad to see that those that are uncomfortable are changing their videos to private rather than eliminating them altogether. Once again, that just broke my heart. And I just broke my heart that she felt she had to do that, Oh. So, I don't like it when other people hurt. I really don't. And, Anne is such a sweetheart. She's so good to me. I just love her. And the idea that that it hurt her, that this hurt her, and it may not have had to. Just makes me so mad. Makes me so mad. Perhaps until there's the problem. The problem is that you're not going to know if your videos are being set to private. You're not going to know. So what you're waiting to see if it happens to somebody else? I say take concrete steps now, and unless you want to be known as a kids channel, don't mark it as being a channel for kids. I see there's going to be a lot of people doing that. The problem is that you can't come back from that. You can't, you'll end up not making any money on YouTube, and that is not why. I mean, if you're gonna, we spend time. We make an effort. Especially somebody like Sammy, who prepares and and does lessons and plans and has, takes the time to. I know she had to have practiced, with the whole changing out of all of the things so that you always know what she's coloring, excuse me, with and what color it is. And just a tremendous amount of work and planning and all of that. And I think she should be rewarded for that. I do think she should be rewarded with that, with the ability to have chat and super chats and, and ad revenue and all of that, because she is putting a value out there to all of us. And it's nice, and just as you guys just did, it's nice to recognize that and be able to recognize that. And I just hope that, that it doesn't go away. And because if it does, then YouTube is basically dead, because there's a lot of people that won't make videos anymore for a fear of a $42,000 gorilla on their back. Let's talk about that for a minute. How in the world did that number get to be like that? There is an answer to that, and it is interesting. Oh, by the way, as I was about to come on air, Hogue Law put up another video. I didn't get a chance to read it, but I did, or listen to it, but I did a link to it, and it is the third link that is down underneath my comment to the FTC in the description of the video today. I am looking for a blender pencil. That is what I'm looking for. So, what are my plans for this channel? Well, obviously, I am going to be examining every bit of metadata in my the back end of my channel. Now, I don't really have time to do that because I'm once again still trying to get this new book out by, guess what, next week, which means I kind of have to turn it in by probably tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to make it, but we're going to try. Sorry, I've got to do the car thing tomorrow. I still don't know if they've accepted my appeal or not. So this is why, you don't want my life right now, guys. It's just not good. Yeah, right. Adult coloring. Yes, you go into settings, channel, and well, actually, it depends on what you want to do. The problem is that you have to go to a bunch of different places once you have content. So you want to set it at the channel level. Because you get default uploads. And if you never used your default uploads, you should, or upload defaults, you should use them because they make your life so much easier because you only have to do it once. So, but if you've been adding tags to your videos on an individual basis, then you end up having to change them on an individual basis, in individual video basis. But if you've been adding tags like I have, both at the channel level with upload defaults and at the okay, Shara, it's fine. We'll talk and be safe and have a great Thanksgiving, honey. Have a great Thanksgiving with the parents. And like I said, give Shara or Shannon a hug for me and one for you. And all right, so you already set the channel level, so that's done. If you have, okay, in that case, then you are probably going to want to go in. Oh, well, now wait a minute. What did you already set? Whether or not you're made for kids or not. I'm talking about metadata. I'm talking about your tags, your video descriptions, your video titles, your channel description, your all of those kinds of things. Yeah, you need to make sure that you look at all of it and change where necessary. And so yeah, you still have to do it for your channel level. Yeah, you don't have to do it at the channel level. You can I just for me it's just much easier. It's why every video that I have always, includes the links and all of that to my website and all of that. You had 2 videos that YouTube already set child appealing. Yes. And yes, so you have a couple of options, Sunshine or Pat. You need to figure out why. Look at your channel description and see if maybe your channel description, the about page, look at why they might have looked at you in the first place. Then look at those videos and see if you can figure out why they say they're child appealing. You get a couple of options at this point. You can take it private and take it down, edit it, and re-upload it, and then appeal it. Or you can set that particular video to made for children. That's how they notify you. That's how they notify you. They mark it, and you get a notice in your channel inbox or your channel box. Hi, Corolla, and so like the video from YouTube says, if they mark it child appealing, you disagree, you can appeal it. You can just send feedback and they'll take a second look, or you can explain it. But I would first figure out why. Well, okay, what was the title? What was the title of the video? Look at that. What was the description that you wrote? What was the tags that you put on it? And if you can find out why it was flagged or why they looked at your channel in the first place, especially if you set your channel as not made for kids, then it will give you a better picture of why that particular video got flagged. And you can take it down, edit it, reload it. Or you can mark it as made for kids. The only problem with marking that one as made for kids is you won't get it. You won't earn any money on it. I mean, you will probably, it'll still be monetized in that it will still run ads directed at children, or not directed at children, but general context ads. But otherwise, and the reason why there's less, there's a 90% drop in your, or 70 to 90% drop, is most advertisers don't want to advertise general context. They want to know that their ads are being targeted to people that are likely to buy their products. And that's what personalized advertising is sending ads out to those people who are most likely to purchase your product based upon their behavior online. Which is, it's called, there's two kinds of advertising. There's contextual advertising and there's behavioral advertising. And it is the behavioral advertising that goes away on marked for kids or made for kids videos. They'll still be monetized. They just won't earn any money because nobody buys that kind of advertising. Or hardly anybody. It's the kind of advertising that is that television stations buy, or that sell on their channels, or on that's when you advertise on TV. This is why companies like places like YouTube, because YouTube collects information and provides them valuable information as to the behavior of the people that they're showing their ad to, making it thereby much more likely that the person is going to buy their product. And it's the whole basis of why Facebook and all of that got into such trouble for selling privacy, selling our behavior to companies. I still can't find what I'm looking for, which is a blender pencil. Where is my blender pencil? There it is. Little tiny stubby thing. Okay. Anyway. Sorry, your phone glitch. Oh, you thought it was. Oh, you thought it was the stream. Okay. Anyway, so I want to. Okay, so okay, did that, and I am going to be very interested to see what Richard Hogue had to say about. Apparently, he had a conversation with somebody who is in direct, one of the big gaming channels, with like 3 million viewers or 3 million subscribers. So he had a conversation with that guy. And this is not the one I want. I think I want this one. And they did a podcast. He, once again, he's not giving legal advice, but he is rather discussing it from an attorney's point of view. But he is only one attorney out of many, but he is the one that's talking. And of course, I don't blame him for taking advantage of of talking about this subject to help grow his channel. He's gone from like 1,000 subscribers to 5,000 subscribers in a week. So, wait, that's okay. If that were the FTC, you would. Well, no. See, well, maybe, but not really. That's the problem. Everybody assumes that this bill is going to show up in their mailbox. And that just isn't true. They have to sue you. They have to actually bring suit against you. And that's what we were going to talk about. I was going to talk about how that number got to look like that and why it's so scary. Thank you. All right. So when COPPA was revised in 2013, and when it was originally invented, it was in or passed, it was done so with large corporations in mind, with big platforms. It was never just, with deep pockets. And they wanted to make a penalty that would be enough to put people on notice, but not necessarily put them out of business. And with a big corporation, a big platform, $42,000 per violation is a pretty ugly figure. But it was never intended to be, Joe Small's video or, Joe Small's penalty. It's a maximum penalty. Obviously, you would get, if you got, let's say that they filed, say just for a moment that for 2 videos, they actually brought suit against you. Excuse me. You would hire your own attorney. Who would probably settle it for, not the problem. The problem is I need to blow my nose. Let me go do that. Hang on. Whew. Thank you for bearing with me, everybody. All right. So they would have to sue you. And, obviously, there's not going to be any way that, that Pat at Cajun Sunshine, who has, whatever it is, 300 videos up or however many you've got, and a, subscriber base of whatever your subscriber base is, they're not, they have to look at you as a entity and make that fine accordingly. So the 42,000 is a maximum fine, but not an established, oh my gosh, yeah, you did. Yeah, you got to get out of that habit, Pat. That's a joke between Pat and I. But I know she's going to laugh. And yeah, I am actually okay. What happens is that I'll get to talking and my sinuses will close up because, of course, in order to talk, you have to close off your sinuses. You're not breathing and talking at the same time. I know you are, honey. We talked about that. Okay, so anyway, yeah, so I mean that's everybody keeps, there's this big doom and gloom and oh my gosh, I'm gonna be fine. You're gonna owe 42, no. You gotta apply logic, you gotta read the law, You got to actually read the rule, read the COPPA rule. It's a maximum fine per video. It's not the fine per video. You just settle, you settle, and they're not stupid. They're not going to bankrupt you and take your house and do all of that kind of stuff. Everybody, I mean, even the FTC can apply common sense to a situation. Yes, folks, it's true. The government can use common sense. Hasn't used it recently, but it's coming. Anyway, I know it's not funny, but it's just there is just a lot of freaking out, and it's just what's interesting is so many YouTubers haven't even mentioned it. Exactly, because you know why? Because they're not panicking. They're just gonna do what they do because they kind of know that. Okay, bye, Gary. Thank you, honey, for coming. I appreciate you. Big hug. Um, they know that they probably don't have anything to worry about. Um, so the FTC's guidance. All right, let's come back to that. I do strongly urge all channel owners to read it. There is a link to it right at the top of my video today. I also urge all channel owners to go read the original complaint, to go read the original modification or amendment to the complaint, to actually read the opinions of read the settlement, read the opinions. Uh, listen to podcasts, do all of that, and actually educate yourself. You need to believe that if you do, you will feel better. There is just so much misinformation and panic mongering, and this is how it's going to be, horrible stuff. Now, I will say that Creekcraft, which is a channel, he's a 20-something articulate young man with a true statement that the language in the rule is outdated. And so, yes, thank you, Melody. Absolutely. It is just, and some channel owners are actually thinking that they are going to, just stop doing YouTube altogether, that the risk is just too big. And, to those people, I would say, take, if it makes you more comfortable, take your videos private on January 1st, but don't give up until you see what happens. Once again, as you can see in the comment that I made, after laying out my scenario, at the bottom, I did say, all we're really asking for here, guys, is for you to clarify the language. And that is the point that Creekcraft was trying to make. The language as set out in the original rule is outdated. And it doesn't take into account it doesn't take YouTube into account. It doesn't take the hobbycraft, the adult hobbycraft featuring kids' toys. Look at the guy who, or the whole community, adult community built around Legos. There is a huge adult community built around building stuff out of Legos. Has anybody checked out what Legos cost these days? This is not a child's activity. Kids might have, Legos might be a child's toy, but the way these guys are applying them, these are definitely not children's activities. Is it family friendly? You bet. And YouTube has gone a long way toward making certain that, family friendly programming is a huge part of YouTube. Uh, but is that particularly directed at kids? No. And that sort of brings me right back to these companies and channels that were originally cited as evidence in or samples as evidence in the original complaint. YouTube, the FTC didn't have to look very far to find a bunch of companies like this. The Mattels, the Hasbros, and the other, and I didn't write them down. I should have, and I don't have a printout of it right here in front of me. The names of those companies, but in each and every case, they were companies that, in their own descriptions, self-described as being marketed to kids. We make toys, we play kids games, we do this. Hey kids, come, look at our channel, do all of this. They were actually marketing and directing their content to kids on YouTube. And yet, because YouTube had said you got to be 13 to use us, except if you're signed up with YouTube Kids, they were collecting data on everybody who visited those channels. And of course, those channels would be attracting kids. They're being directed at kids. Yeah, exactly. And that is, Pat, you've hit the nail right on the head. Right on the head. Because child appealing is a language that is outdated. It is way outdated. And that's why I won't let my son trash his Legos. I bet exactly. Exactly, Melinda. Exactly. And yes, and Desert Nana, that's exactly right. The impression, yeah, that is exactly the problem. And that is exactly what YouTube and Google did. They collected children's browsing history and then directed ads to those people based upon their interest. And that is exactly the problem. They can't do that under the child or under the COPPA rule. And so basically they got caught with their pants down, guys, and so they settled, and they should. But then they started realizing the practicality of, well, how, with I think what is the statistic? 400 hours of video are uploaded to YouTube every minute. That's a whole lot of videos. And I'm not coloring, am I? Just sitting here talking. Shame on me. Not going to get any comments on my video on my gorgeous coloring if I don't color. That was self-serving, guys. I'm kidding. But so of course, what I love is that all of this comes down just as I get my channel monetized. So if I am able to be the canary in the mine, I'm willing to be it. Of course, I have never marketed to kids. I don't direct it at kids. I don't have kids, so and I think I would have a pretty solid case for proving that adult coloring is a real thing. Uh, once again, I do invite you guys to read my response to the FTC. Also, go to the FTC and there are links all over the place. I think I even put one in my video on Friday or yesterday, where you can go write your own thoughtful comment on what what YouTube means to you and how having your channel owners under this kind of threat, especially when you know that it's a like kind hobby as far as yes, children color too, or children do crafts too, or children play with dolls too, or children do play with Legos. But that is not what these channels are directed at. We do not, they're not marketing to kids. They're not featuring kids. They're not, saying in their channel descriptions that they're, they might say family friendly, but they don't say, "Hey kids, come and play with us." That kind of thing, which channels that were cited as examples uh, did. Now, even though Faithful Mess, when her videos got flagged, obviously, uh, something about the description. It wasn't just maybe it was just the showing of L's, but there has to be something. Yeah, and well, not only that, but if you've got a platform and you say, okay, here's your platform. You say this is a platform for ages. In order to come to this platform or to sign up for an account, you have to be 13 or over, which is great. Except, okay, now we all know that anybody can come to YouTube, right? You don't have to have a YouTube account to come to YouTube. You only have to have, or even a Google account. The only thing you have to have is an account if you want to comment, right? If you want to comment on something, you have to have a YouTube account. But you can just go watch a video. Anybody can just go watch a video on any browser. And so if you then have a platform where you say that in order to, post videos here, in order to have a YouTube account, you must be over the age of 13. And then you purposely or you allow content directed at kids under the age of 13 onto your platform and collect the data from people who visit those websites or those channels who are most likely to be kids under the age of 12, you have definitely violated the Child Protection Act or Child Online Protection Act by collecting their information. And so that is what they did. That is what they did. And it is why they settled. Could you imagine if the FTC were to actually calculate how many videos, I'm sure they did a formulaic type thing, how many videos were actually, marketed to kids, directly marketed to kids, times the number of views or the number of videos. Yeah, the $170 million was probably pretty cheap. But it's a multiplier. Apparently, it is a multiplier. I think they in the complaint it cites that YouTube made $50 million in advertising revenue on those channels, just on those channels, the ones cited in pages 10 to 14. of the complaint. So I don't know. That's a really good question, Melinda. I honestly do not know if they did or not. I imagine probably they did. I imagine that probably there was a whole lot of back end dealing with between the attorneys and the FTC and all of that. And of course, it's just never come up. There may actually have also been, I honestly don't know because I don't know what the interior dealings of that are, and that's why I made it. Yeah, well, yeah, but see, if you're not posting content, you wouldn't have to worry, and just merely having a YouTube account doesn't, if you're not posting content, especially not content directed at kids, you're not, they're not even going to look at you. Or they are going to look at you whether or not you're monetized or not. So if you're directing your content at children, that is where you run into problems. Now, the FTC in the statement on Friday did say that they understand that just because a child might watch your video doesn't mean that you are directed at kids. So, yeah. Oh, well, I'm certain that the fact that they were probably the toys that were then being marketed to those accounts, yeah, probably. Yeah, that was my take on it as well. That they see it as, but they're not the ones gathering the information. What they are is the ones buying the ads that the information was gathered for. Heck, if I'm a toy manufacturer and somebody's holding the information on the buying or the behavioral habits of a bunch of my customers, then yeah, I'm going to go to them and buy advertising because I'm going to sell more stuff that way. It's all about selling more product. And, and that is YouTube's business model. They operate on advertising revenue. And, all right, Christine. By Jove, I do think I've done that yellow flower, haven't I? I think I did these in brown. I think I'll do that. Yeah, this too. I can't breathe again. So what I have just seems like I've just been talking a blue streak, and I certainly have been watching a ton of videos. I really loved watching Mrs. Coffee last night. She was unboxing some diamond paintings, and she gets to the AB diamonds or the AB drills, and she makes the same sound every time. I don't know how you do it. I do not know how she does it. She makes the same exact sound every time when she says AB alert. If you don't watch her channel, go watch it just for that, and watch for those AB alerts, Aurora Borealis drills. I just love it. Makes me laugh every time. And I really loved the diamond painting that she worked on. I think it was the one with the lady in the hat. And she showed a Christmas one too. I'm in love with it. I have to go already. Bye, Christine. Okay, hi Corolla, and bye Corolla. I'm so sorry that you have to go already, but have a wonderful evening and a good sleep tonight and all that kind of good stuff. Well, if I had any, that would might work, but if I just stop talking for a couple of minutes and breathe. Ah, yes. Just breathing. Put the blood pressure down. Go all zen. Yeah, that is okay. I should. All right. Yeah, okay, YouTube will lose a lot of money. I just don't understand that. What do you mean hiding videos? They're not hiding anything. Oh, well, yeah, but see, you're not marking your video as child appealing. See, now that, and we got to stop with the misinformation. We got to stop with the misinformation. You're not marking your video as child appealing. You're not marking it yourself as family friendly or child suitable or anything like that. You are marking your video as directed to kids or not directed to kids. So either you're making your video for children or with children in mind as your main audience, or you're not. If you're not, and you are later found to be doing an activity that would be considered child appealing, and the FTC feels they have a strong enough case against you, they could then bring suit against you. I will only say what I have done, Pat. I have marked my entire channel as made for adults. I have said I never make a video for children. And and I am way comfortable with that. Absolutely way comfortable with that because I don't make any videos with kids in mind. It's and if I do a flip through of a book, like for instance, Susan Curry's books. Susan Curry's books are suitable for all ages, but I am making video content for adults. Yeah. Deep breaths and slower speech, exactly. So, yeah, that is, we really have to get away from that. I know that everybody wants to put that in their heads. Am I making family friendly content? That's not what the ruling says. The ruling says, are you making content directed to children? How do you know if it's directed to children? Their language is vague. Their intent is pretty obvious. And that is, if you're a toy company and you sell things like Play-Doh and your main product line is addressed to children under the age of 13, then yeah, pretty well directed at kids. Will that affect a crafter? Most of the common sense in me says no, because you are not making content for children, nor are most of us, encouraging the whole, let's color along with our kids kind of thing. Channels that do that may have something to worry about. For me, I am applying common sense. I do not draw children's images. I don't draw animated characters. Now, the FTC statement on Friday also recognizes that not all animation is for kids. That there actually is animation that is appealing or made for everyone. So that was also another thing. So I guess the real question is, and it's just like I say in the statement that I wrote to the FTC, I have no reason to believe that they won't apply common sense, but that the language in their rule, as as stated in the original rule, is sufficiently vague to cause a great deal of unrest amongst a community that did not exist at the time the rule was written. And, based upon that rule is what is causing all of this sort of, problem. And remember that even in 2013, we didn't really exist in the way that we do now because adult coloring and, the sort of mass influx of craft channels, arts and crafts, and all that kind of thing, didn't necessarily exist 6 years ago on YouTube. So, so they have what they've done is they've applied a 1998 rule, which they updated in 2013 to a 2019 world, and they've run into a maybe our rule doesn't fit the circumstance right now, especially for these people. I would definitely classify the Disney Colorathon as focused toward children. Yes, I would. That's my personal opinion. That is not a legal opinion. That is my personal opinion. Absolutely. I would not, for me, I would not be coloring Disney, but that's just me. Or if I did, I would be marking those videos as being, made for kids. At which point in time, the colorathon becomes sort of moot because they're no longer searchable. There's no comments. There's no notifications. There's no, there's a monetized channel. There's limited advertising, but if you're not monetized, it doesn't matter. You'd still have to market regardless of your monetization status. So nobody would be able to find it to begin with. It's, so no search, no. Now, you can find channels. You might not be able to find a particular video, but you can find channels as far as search goes. So somebody would have to come physically to your channel to see that you posted a new video. But that's just my personal opinion. Like I say, I would certainly err on the side of caution if I had participated in that. Absolutely. And I would mark it as being made for kids. Or, well, even then, that is such a judgment call because you don't know how they're going to look at that. It's obviously adult coloring. Excuse me. It's raining again today. Oh yeah, no. Oh, bye, Jude. Did Jude already leave? Bye, Jude. Thank you. Just sort of reading Christine, which is I'm not going to advise you to do anything, Pat. You got to choose that for yourself. Okay. YouTube can change the setting. Yes, YouTube can change the setting if you did not change it yourself. So if you didn't identify one of your videos, all right, so if you set it to the okay, let's talk about that. If you set your channel to not made for kids at the channel level, it will automatically change all of your videos. And so you can then go back in and pick out which ones are made for kids if you did make videos directed at children, and actually and actually amend those at the video level as well. So you get three choices: either made for kids, or made for kids, not made for kids, or never made. Your channel never makes videos for kids, or you want to decide on an individual video basis. Pat, what is still confusing you? Other than the fact that we don't know really what you don't see Disney as, oh, no, I don't either. I don't see it as only for children. That is certainly true. I agree, Joey. I absolutely agree. But if you were the one uploading it, you wouldn't take the chance till that question is definitively answered. I agree. I absolutely agree. I might take those videos private, or I might make them suitable for kids. But on the other hand, if you go through, well, if it's I don't think if it's a live chat, it would even show up at all. So, I don't know how many people did pre-records, but if you mark a video at the live level as being made for kids, you're not going to have comments anyway, because there won't be any chat. It'll just be you talking to the air, because there won't be any interaction. You'll just be live. Which I think is how that works. Sorry, guys. I'm so sorry that I'm not doing any coloring. The unclarity of the language, and that is what they have to fix. And that is the sort of the focus. And back to Creekcraft. He is, once again, he's this 20-something-year-old man that, basically his comment was to the FTC, the language is outdated and it needs to be brought up to, speed, guys. And he actually has an appointment to discuss this with a FTC commissioner on December 9th. And when the comment period, and because he is in sort of a unique position to, he's old enough to know who his market is, but also, his initial video was pretty funny. He says, I have never seen anything so stupid in my entire life, as the language in this rule as applied to today's marketplace. So I do happen to love, intelligent young people. I just think it's really, I just love them. Mostly because it's, they seem to be very difficult to find recently. And they market their but they're not marketing their toys to us, Libby. They're not marketing their toys to us. Legalize it, I awful. What? Jill? I don't think it's illegal. I mean, there's nothing that we're doing that's illegal except if we don't mark if we make a video, we direct it at kids, we don't mark it as being directed at kids, and YouTube then gathers information on the people who are likely to watch it, who are most likely to be under or most likely to be kids, then of course we have participated in a COPPA violation. So that is the I think that's the premise. There is a whole lot of opinion as to whether or not that is actually even possible. Just because they say it so doesn't mean that it falls within the law. There's a lot of things that the rule never took into account, like, or that that the law never takes into account, like, can a video content provider be considered a website or a business operator or a whatever. The FTC says yes, but it's never been adjudicated, so we don't really know. There is a separate YouTube for kids, but everybody can go there. And it's it's an app. It's a phone app. Where the real problem comes in is the fact that you can access it from just because there is YouTube Kids doesn't mean that's the only place that channel shows up. So if Mattel's channel or Hasbro's channel is featured prominently on YouTube Kids, but then the channel is on actually, the channel is actually hosted by YouTube, and everybody can go, they know automatically not to select, not to collect it from accounts registered to YouTube Kids, but everybody else was getting collected on, and so that is what they got in trouble for. Yeah, the language, as in any contract, legal document, whatever lawyers draft. Exactly, it needs to be clear. There need to be expanded definitions. There need to be acknowledgement that that there are big, huge, gigantic differences between like kind hobbies of children and adults, especially when it comes to the genres of art, craft, and toys, basically. So, no, I am not going to stop doing. No, I'm definitely not going to stop doing live videos. I don't make videos for children. I don't direct my videos to children. I don't make books for children. I don't market them to children. What I have done is put a little disclaimer at the top of my show, which says that there are 2 chat rules. You need to be kind, and you need to be over the age of 17. I do, if anybody identifies, here's the thing. How many times in recent months have, and I can tell you at least a dozen that I know of, that in a live stream, somebody has come in and self-identified themselves as being 12 years old. And they were never asked to leave. They were never simply beamed out. And that, instead, heck, they give you your name. They're giving you their name. They're saying like, "Hi, my name is Ashley and I'm 12 years old." Yeah, you want to make sure that is gone. You want to make sure that that you ask them kindly if their parent is here in the room, and then if they're not, then you need to make sure that they are that they are simply beamed out. Because otherwise, you now are aware that there is a kid in your stream and his or her data is quite likely being collected. So you do get a chance to ask for a parent, and if they're not there, then they need to go. And yes, those are most likely FTC spies or FTC agents masquerading as 12-year-olds, because it's why would anybody walk into a room of total strangers in an adult coloring channel and say, "Hi, my name is Ashley and I'm 12 years old." It is about protecting children from having their data collected, their behavioral data collected for the purpose of marketing or showing them ads and or gathering their information. So anytime you log on to a device, cookies can track you. They know where you go, they know what you watch, and all of that. But if you are, yeah, exactly, a 12-year-old would not do that. Exactly, Desert Nana. A real 12-year-old would never do that. And so if you've got a channel or a video where a child, you specifically said, my channel is friendly to children and come on in and play, and your video title says come have some coloring fun with Mary, or you have a something along those lines. There's something that's going to attract kids, and your channel is you say children, come on in and play, let's have some fun and stuff like that, then oh heck yeah, you are directed at children, and it looks like you're directed at children to the bots, and you probably should be marketing your ads or your channels. But once again, that's sort of a common sense type thing, and kids give out information that should be given online by kids. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So what it is the Child Online Privacy Protection Act. It was originally designed to make it necessary to get parental consent before you could sign up for anything. If you were under the anything online, if you were under the age of 13. And you wanted to sign into a gaming, a kids game, you needed to acknowledge that you were under the age of 13, and a parent had to then set up an account for you and swear that they were over the age of 18 and all of that. So, but then enter the cookies, the YouTube, the internet tracking cookies, and things like that. And that was a whole new ballgame. So that was then addressed in the 2013 revision of the 1998 COPPA law. So it was amended in 2013. But with the advent of YouTube and the rise of the news coverage that YouTube is the new Saturday morning cartoons, that kind of thing. They were asked by child privacy advocacy groups. The FTC was asked to look into it, and what they found was horrifying. And that is that kids who were regularly visiting channels that were specifically dedicated or marketing products or featuring videos directed at children were still having their data collected on the premise that you had to be 13 years old to have a Google account in the first place. And yes, it's for all YouTube channels. All YouTube channels. Every YouTube channel, every provider has got to be COPPA compliant if they're making videos for children. Now, obviously, if you are a channel that is engaged in real and the FTC statement on the 22nd, which is linked in the description below, right at the very top, gives some examples of of channels that would probably never be looked at if you're engaged in stock market or news or or investment advice or whatever it is that is on that list. And the list was brief but sort of diverse. Real estate, home improvement, stuff like that. Then you probably have nothing to worry about because you're not making directed at kids at all. Oh, it's got nothing to do with the legalese. This is really just simply bad or outdated language. It says that you are, that you would be considered, that you might be considered made for kids or making content for kids if your content is A, directed at kids, or B, the subject matter by the subject matter or the idea that your video might be appealing to children. That is where we ran into this big wall. Right there. Is your video appealing to children? Does it feature something that is traditionally a child activity or pastime? And that is where the sort of the metal hit the brick wall. Because now there are so many adult hobbyists who are playing children's games or what would theoretically be considered children's hobbies. And yet there's no distinction in the language to make exception for those people. Because I can guarantee you that a kid doesn't want to color this. A kid might want to color a Disney cartoon, but he does not want to color this. Or if he does, well, more power to him, I guess. But that is not who I make my books for. And I state right in my, that was the other thing I was going to say, is I've now put a thing in that says that I'm an artist, that I market to the adults. I do not recommend my product, the coloring supplies that I use, or any demonstration techniques for children under the age of 13. Suitable to children under the age of 13, nor do I market to their parents for the express purpose of purchasing them for children under the age of 13. And so, basically, it was just one more step in the cover you're, behind activities that I'm engaged in the last couple of days. In addition to, of course, finding out about really what is all of this madness about, and how, are we really under threat? Are we really in danger? The answer to me is still a resounding maybe, but I do feel a little better about it than I did a few days ago. Of course, I never panic. I try never to panic if I can help it. It really, two things happened. The first one is I saw Nick Nimitz video. I was sort of ignoring it, But then I saw Nick Nimitz make a video, and it was scare tactic. It was I love Nick Nimitz. I unsubscribed to his channel over it. I was so upset. It was just fear mongering. That's all it was. Whereas his brother, D Nimitz, and they do a show. They also do a show together. Was totally level headed. Great advice. I never watched D. Now I'm going to watch D. So I guess he gets my business. The Nimitz brothers get my business one way or the other. But as far as my watch hours, and those are mine to give. Those aren't anybody else's. My watch hours are mine, and they are valuable to channel owners. Watch hours are valuable to channel owners because they translate to people watching ads, and that's why they're valuable. So I'm pretty well mad at Nick, but and that's bad because I really like his videos. And wait, all right. So you're looking on the advanced settings on YouTube, and the option for adults only states this. No, set this channel is not made for kids. I know. Yeah. Yeah. So there are three settings. Well, there's three settings. Yes, I make videos for kids, directed at kids. No, this is not made for kids. I never upload content that's made for kids. But you see, you've already got a video flag. So you could take those two videos down, and once again, take them into your computer, edit them, and make them less attractive to kids, unless they're live streams, at which point in time you can't edit them. So I don't know, take them private or delete them or whatever. Or Pat, appeal, because you can appeal just by using the give me feedback or provide feedback. Yes. Well, it's not for adults only. Coloring isn't for adults only. I realize that the kind of Loretta, like for instance, the art that you draw, I would consider for adults only, over 18. If I were you and had a YouTube channel, I would actually put that restriction that that your artwork is mature and therefore should only be viewed by those over the age of 18. But that's just simply because of the subject matter of the art. But I wouldn't let a kid color that. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. If YouTube is giving false positives, then the more data that they have, to work with as to why a false positive was delivered, the better. So yes, if you've got a video that was marked and you've looked at it and you can't see any reason why it would have been marked, then you should definitely appeal so they can adjust their machine learning, because it is machine learning and they're having to figure it out. Coloring is seen as adult or not, regardless of content. Well, yeah, but it does help that there has been vast news coverage and all of that as far as adult coloring as a hobby. And there are so many books now that are marketed as adult coloring books that are not necessarily adult only content. But right on the outside of the book, it says adult coloring book. Yeah. There has to be a reason why that one was marked, Pat. So look at the description, look at the front end, look at the title, look at the look at the tags that you put on it. There's probably something there. Maybe look at the chat. Well, actually, I don't know if you can look at the chat anymore. If it was a live stream, and it was marked as being for kids, you might not be able to look at the chat anymore. It's for mental health, and yet you have old fogey thinkers who feel it's. Yeah, exactly. And that Loretta is why why there needs to be much better language in the original or the COPPA rule. At least in my opinion, there should be some sort of recognition that that they realize that there are valid reasons why that that in other words, if they just say, hey guys, we recognize that that there are going to be cases where your channel provides a service and it might use a child-oriented item, but that your channel isn't made for kids. I mean, there really is, and it says it right there at the, in the thing. There is no one size fits all. The chances that that the FTC is going to, is going to sue you over unless they can find evidence that you intentionally were directing this video at children and lied about it, they don't have any cause to bring suit against you. Where do you find out if someone was flagged? Well, they'd have to tell you. Like for instance, when Faithful Mess was flagged, she told us all that she had 8 videos that got flagged. Oh, where do you go? You look in your videos, in your studio, and you look at your videos and just go through. It'll show if there was a flag. And it'll come in as a notice. Or, you will have gotten an email on it or something. Well, and that's why, Retta, that's why the language needs to be updated to today's, to today's real world. Yeah, I was good so far too. And I know that they sent mods through my system yesterday because they monetized me yesterday. So they had to have sent them through. I can't imagine that they wouldn't have with this thing looming over us. They also must have considered me as being commercially viable. Excuse me. Which is the big controversy that's going on right now is that, if you're not commercially viable, that YouTube may get rid of you. And that is not new language, by the way. I did watch the Hogue Law episode on that. That it's always been in the agreement They just simply highlighted it. And I think they highlighted it in light of this whole COPPA controversy coming up, because it was what they did, right before the stuff, proverbial stuff, hit the fan on through COPPA. So now, once again, not a new law, not a new all of that. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they are actually reviewing. See, they're testing right now. They're testing their machine learning right now. So maybe they flagged it, they looked at it, and they're teaching their machines, which is one of the reasons why nobody should panic until they run this test thing on December 9th or December 10th or whatever it was that they've said they're going to do. I don't know where this December 10th date came up. I haven't seen anything about that. All I do know is that December 9th is when the FTC comment period closes. Originally, it was supposed to last through October, but because of all of this, they went ahead and extended it to December 9th, so that they could take more comment from all of us, because they do want to know. They do want to learn about how to apply this rule, and what some of the potential problems were. And one of the commissioners, Commissioner Slaughter, actually recognized actually what she asked for. She asked for what's called a technological backstop, which is what YouTube has created with this machine learning bot that will supposedly identify. Now, Commissioner Simons, who is the chairman, and all but I think it was a 3-2 vote, basically said that the fears of that would be the number of false positives it would generate. And so that's why they didn't put it or stipulate it in the actual settlement itself. So the bot thing is being done by YouTube as at least it looks like they're doing it. The opinions are that it looks like they're doing it to show that they are willing to go above and beyond the requirement of the settlement agreement to identify potential videos in violation. Now, I think they're really doing it so that they can give us fair warning in the event it looks like we may be in violation. I mean, I'm willing to give YouTube the benefit of the doubt on this and say that they're going to run this bot thing so that we have a chance as channel owners to take definitive measures to make certain that we're not in violation. And so I look at the flagging that's going on as a good thing because it's helping us identify where the problems are. For instance, the reason why Faithful Mess got tagged is because of all those, right there in her, description of her channel on her about page. It says that, she does stuff for kids. So yeah, they may make an example of someone huge for a PR sake. Now, I will tell you that some of the huge gaming channels, or the big one of the biggest there's one. It's the one that Hogue is talking to in the video that I posted the link to. They're going to go meet with the FTC. They're going to talk about all of this. And, so I think that Let's everybody stay calm. Do the things that you have to make yourself feel at peace. Take your videos private if you feel that necessary. I would urge, please, please, please don't take that ultimate measure of deletion until you truly we see whether or not this is going to just kill, because it's certainly got the potential to kill YouTube, but it's also got the potential to make YouTube a place where it's not safe for children because everybody's going to be creating video that is so seriously not acceptable, or whatever, or so seriously not directed at kids that all the family orientation and safety in it will go away, and you can't run a business model that way too. And hopefully it'll all work out in the long run. It's going to be, exactly, it's going to be a biggie. Anyway, I have realized that I've just run over my time, and yeah, if your videos are okay. Yeah, I mean, we do, just please, please, please apply common sense. Follow the actual rule. I mean, read the rule, read the it's not that complicated. It is legalese, but it's not that complicated to read. And and so try to, in other words, try to stay calm, everybody. We're here to help. Yes, I do that. We're from the government, and we're here to help. Yeah, sure you are. So if you set your videos to private, yeah, you can, of course. Yeah, you can then make them public. Yeah, you could then go back in and make them public. But if they're marked to private, I don't know if they'll get scanned or not. And that is the other thing, is that you may not know if you've been flagged or not because your videos were private. So to me, I'm advocating not doing it. Other than addressing your metadata, please, because it says right in the complaint that that's what they looked at. They looked at the titles. They looked at your channel description. They looked at the metadata tags, which are your tags, and all of that. They looked at, the video contents. And obviously, if you're in your chat or you're in your video and you're talking about the news of the day, or this, that, or the other thing, then you are not directing you're certainly doesn't look like you're intentionally directing your content to those kids or to kids. So you got to make your own choices, but use common sense when making them, and don't operate out of fear. Education and information go a long way toward alleviating the fear that is going on in the community right now. And that is what I want to do, because I swear I cannot live with the idea that another big channel owner or successful channel owner who does the wonderful things like Ann did, like Sammy does, like all of that, is going to delete their videos. I mean, it would just be such a loss to all of us. So let's not let that happen. Oh, Desert Nana, Ann had a couple life. She deleted her entire video library, and it can't be undone. All of it. She started over again. It just breaks my heart. Sorry. Which is why I was so happy when I was so happy when I read Sammy's message which is on her community board, that said she was just going to be taking them private and she's not going to do it until the 1st or until, maybe December, whatever. She's leaving it up. So if people want to go get those, go get those color combos and stuff like that off those videos, they can. Hopefully she won't. I don't know. I think I don't want to hear that name. Actually, I really don't. I don't want to hear that name, Mona. If you want to write to me privately, we can do that. But no, I don't want to hear it. And at any rate, it's so hard. It is just so hard. Anyway, I know I'm over my time. I gotta go. Everybody, thank you so very much for being here. And and I apologize that I didn't do any coloring again. Hopefully, we will all get through this, and we'll know in not that long a time. I mean, a month and a half or a month and a week are going to fly by. In the meantime, it's going to be a busy week. So I got to figure out a whole lot of stuff in a big fat hurry, and I got 2 days to do it. So I will catch everybody later until we meet again. Color something pretty. Okay. Bye, everybody. Thank you for coming. Oh, leave me comments, by the way. Lots of comments, lots of engagement. Let's do it. Okay.